1597, a surgeon named Gasparo Tagliacozzi wrote, "We restore, repair, and redo those parts of the body that nature gave, but misfortune has taken, not enough to delight the eye, but enough to lift the spirit and help the mind of the afflicted." Tagliacozzi was convicted of interfering with God's creation. 4 centuries later, another doctor in cosmetic and reconstructive surgery followed Tagliacozzi's words.
Sometimes people overlook is that as we're aging and we look in the mirror, you know, the little person that we continually have a dialogue with, if they look in the mirror and they see aging, many times, depending on their emotional maturity, which is always little because it's the little person, they are fearful that we're going to be closer to death. And many people don't look at it that way. But it's blatantly obvious that sometimes if you look younger or you look healthier, the person can rest and relax. Because we made a contract. The contract you make when you're younger, as you're growing up, as you separate from the little person and become the guardian, the real guardian of the little person, that you were going to take care of me.
We are in the Sanctuary Medical Aesthetics Center, SMAC Boca, located in Boca Raton, Florida. In this facility, cosmetic surgeries, laser and varicose vein treatments, weight loss, and other services are offered, making people feel good about their physical appearances. Among the specialists here, we find Dr. Kurt Joseph Wagner. After 30 years in Beverly Hills, he continues to bring youth and options to his patients.
You know, his brain is unbelievable. It's just a wealth of knowledge, and really it's impressive to be able to work with him. I've learned quite a few things from him, and I took my training and he kind of refined a lot of my training with things that were, you know, classic. Just he'd done so many of these procedures. He basically taught me rhinoplasty from scratch. So we do a pretty good nose now because of Kurt. And lots of tricks and tips and facelift surgery that he taught me. So I'm definitely a better surgeon because of Kurt.
Todos.
I think that, you know, and what you're speaking to related to repairing or modifying or improving someone's natural anatomy, I think it's a quick repair, and it's a dramatic shift in somebody's outside. And there's a connection between that and what's going on between their emotional insides.
In his own field, totally ignoring his abilities, because he is far more talented than many people in his field, is that when a patient walks in, he doesn't try to sell them anything. And what he asks them right away is, tell me, you know, if you had a list of all the things you want to change, what is it you want? What is it you'd like to do? And then, unlike other doctors, when you've given this list, which in most cases is pretty pretty extensive because everybody dreams of more than is possible, he'll say, "I'm going to tell you right now, don't waste your money. Okay, I'll do this and this, but those other 3 things, forget it. Okay, it's not going to change anything for you." And in that way, he probably loses a lot of business, but he develops a trust because we know whatever it is he tells you he can tackle, it's genuine.
My name is Kurt Wagner. By trade, I'm a plastic surgeon.
In the mid-1960s, when being young and handsome in the United States was important to hold a job, Wagner wrote the book A Plastic Surgeon Answers Your Questions, which brought to ordinary people the benefits of plastic surgery.
I may have told about a story of a little 16-year-old girl that was living in New Jersey, very unpopular because she had a nose like a horse. And she was smart, beautiful, lovely otherwise, but every day was painful for her to go to school. And so her father found out about my husband from another friend, from someone at UCLA. This one we were in California. But this one day I was helping out, and my job was, the mother of this daughter had said, now, when we're finished with the surgery, because usually when you're done with the surgery, that is the way the nose will look. And then after a short while, the swelling comes in, and then, of course, it's totally different. So Kurt said, honey, your job is going to be to take the mom back, show, right after the surgery, you show the mother her daughter's nose, and then take her out, and we'll bandage her up, and we'll do everything. Okay. So when it came time, I took the mom in, and my gosh, I can still remember to this day, and this is probably 40 years ago. She stood there with tears rolling down, and she said, I always dreamed I'd have a daughter who would look like that. And that was what happened. And then, here's the best PS, postscript to the entire story. The next year, Kurt got a letter. Dear Dr. Kurt, thank you so much. I am the prom queen. I am the cheerleader. I am the this. I am now ready to go to college. You have changed my life.
So I think it's a complex, interrelated phenomenon that somebody goes to a gifted plastic surgeon. They have this physical repair, this anatomical repair, which has, in some cases, maybe even many cases, it has profound impacts on how people conduct themselves in their lives, professionally, personally, into their interpersonal relationships. So there certainly is a connection between somebody's physical changes externally and their emotional changes internally. How long-lasting it is and how sophisticated that person's pathologies are, of course, vary, but there certainly is a connection.
He popularized cosmetic surgery in the doctor's clinic to reduce costs without affecting the quality of the procedure.
He used to have two, in his first office, he used to have two ORs. And he would have them both going. Like, one would be getting set up, the other one would be, it was amazing. And then in between both of those, he'd go see the people in the waiting room was always full. I mean, he probably, maybe 8, 10 surgeries in a day. When we were in the surgery center, he maybe did 5 or 6 a day. He was very demanding, but you kind of learned his routine. You had to have everybody ready because he would jump from surgery to taking out stitches and checking up on the post-ops, and then he'd run back into surgery. And so, I would have to go back, okay, we're ready. And he'd go, okay, take a break, come see him, and go back out. So it was...
Hollywood's stars-to-be soon learned about Dr. Wagner's work in breast design. One day, a future patient lacked the funds to pay for a procedure. She was a press agent, and Kurt Wagner saw an opportunity to expand his business. Talk shows on TV. The world's first extreme makeover was born. The show was seen by millions in New York, Chicago, and Europe. Next came an article in Look magazine and 2 appearances on The Merv Griffin Show, accompanied by his wife, Kathy.
This what?
Quite a surprise.
It is for us, too.
What's so wonderful is that when you have that surgery done, it doesn't hurt. You get an intravenous thallium shot right into your arm. He kisses you and
What are
you
you
fall
doing
asleep.
Don't kiss all
And you wake up and it's great. You put these funny little bandages on with a Mickey Mouse or a Donald Duck or some kind of a face on there.
I love her. She talks. She's like Marilyn Monroe. You do. You have a nice.
Thank you.
This is your sign, in other words. Yeah. Well.
Wagner suffered the consequences of this new fame. He was accused of self-aggrandizement, and he eventually quit the Los Angeles County Medical Association. His controversial media appearances disrupted his professional life, but they changed the public's perception of cosmetic surgery forever. To know the essence of this man, the first surgeon to talk on late-night TV about the advantages of cosmetic procedures, let's make a journey to Vienna in 1934. Kurt Joseph Wagner made his appearance in the world in the same year that Adolf Hitler became Chancellor of Germany. The world was suffering under a global economic crisis. On March 14, 1938, the Führer declared the annexation of Austria to Germany before 250,000 local supporters during his triumphal entry into Vienna. He came from a wealthy Viennese family who were descended from Wenzel Anton Kaunitz-Riedberg, the Chancellor of State under Maria Theresa of Austria. Oskar Kaunitz, Kurt's grandfather, was an obstetrician and third generation of doctors. Oskar's daughter Sonia agreed to marry Bernard Wahrhaftig, a future psychiatrist. Their family name Wahrhaftig was changed to Wagner, more Teutonic and suitable for those times.
So my father left just in the nick of time because they went looking for him. Now, because of the fact that his cousin was a union organizer and there was an election coming up and there was a Senator Wagner, right? Just serendipity, because there was a Senator Wagner, he said, hey, you have some relatives here, because Wagner's origins were Germanic. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he was NLRB, he was a socialist, I guess, himself, or whatever he was. He sent this cablegram, and my mother and I got a visa when we couldn't get one. That doesn't mean that people didn't get, we weren't the last boat, but that was our escape, okay?
At only 14 months, Kurtie could speak in complete sentences. At age 2, he could read and write, and when he was 3, his grandfather gave him a small doctor's coat embroidered with Dr. Kurtie. A somber air swept over life in Vienna. Curfews, identity checks, supervision of financial activities, and open attacks on Jewish families. People rushed to leave the country. On November 11, 1938, with the sound of broken glass in the streets, Oskar Kaunitz and his wife accompanied their daughter and grandson to the station for a sad farewell on Kristallnacht. The old doctor left his grandson with a commitment that would accompany him for all his life. God has given little to few, much to some, but to you, my dear Curdy, you got it all. You must help every person you meet. If you say so, Dad.
And you want to know something? That was one of the most expensive.
Yeah, but it was just so impressive.
It was impressive
so
when
close.
I came to America.
It was. I was saying, you know how many of our ancestors came here and saw this? I mean, so you want to film this? So this is actually would be interesting. So this is Kurt. This is where I was last week. I was on a medical cruise in the Hudson just because it was part of this event I was on. But we all went by this, and you saw this when you were.
I saw this when I was 4 years, 7 months, and 22 days.
Yeah.
Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore, send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. In November 1938, the little boy and his parents were among the 95,000 Jews who emigrated to the United States that year. After a frustrating year for the Wagners, Kurt's father managed to get the medical license he needed to practice. The last days of 1939 pointed to the wonders in store for the future, with the theme, Building the World of Tomorrow. A group of businessmen planned the second general exhibition in New York, with the intention that it would become the most important event since the First World War. While visiting the New York World's Fair of 1939 with Kurt, his mother, Sonia, saw a friend from Vienna. The meeting brought back memories of home, and after the friend went on his way, Sonia broke down in tears. As his mother sat and sobbed on a park bench, Kurt stood by, unable to comfort her. Kurt recalled in his memoir that a man-sized mouse appeared. Seeing the woman's sadness, the large-eared creature grasped her hands and started a merry dance with a song. Tears soon turned into laughter, and from that time on, a magic talisman came into my life. Dr. Wagner continues to wear a Mickey Mouse watch today. In 1958, Kurt's life was running at high speed. After finishing as Phi Beta Kappa at NYU, the 24-year-old Wagner graduated from the College of Medicine of New York City. He completed his internship at Long Island Jewish Hospital in New Hyde Park, and he was now the fifth generation of physicians. After completing his stint as an intern in 1959, Dr. Wagner was on Route 66 headed to California. Kurt was married to Barbara Jean Wallace with a child and was starting a practice of surgery at Cedars of Lebanon. At that time, the institution had contracts from the Screen Actors Guild, so it was not uncommon to see movie stars, past and present, in the public hallways or as patients.
It's just had story after story after story. You know, I can remember what I had for breakfast, but he'll tell you where he was when he had breakfast. He saw this movie star and all these movie stars he operated on it. It was impressive, a lot, but a lot of them were dead, so we didn't care. He was teaching us a lot of steps, and we got that story about Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire, that he was able to dance with Ginger, so it was pretty impressive. We razzed him a lot, but you know, that's a pretty damn impressive story.
I think the people I grew up with all had special fathers, so they were either actors or, you know, they wealthy, nice people that had a lot of. But everybody, you know, everybody loved my dad, and he was always very adventurous, and we always went and did things. And if they were ever with us, let's say on a vacation, we just played and had fun, and you know, it was fun.
Y así se mantiene el espíritu de este hombre en el umbral de sus 80 años. Con la vista puesta más allá de la aparente realidad, Kurt Wagner tiene sabido que su aspiración y destino sobrepasa la condición del hombre y que el equilibrio entre su esencia y su condición le permite volver la vista hacia atrás y sonreír esperanzado y con envidiable sentido del humor.
Hi.
Hi.
So you're on speakerphone, and we've just completed the video. But something that I naturally stumbled upon was your entertainment qualities and telling a joke. And I talked a little bit about the professor, the Viennese professor.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you mean the ghost?
The ghost.
Professor Hans von Frucht from Austria, yeah? Expert on extraterrestrial and other things, was giving his semi-annual discussion about the afterlife. He says, meine Damen und Herren, ladies and gentlemen, senores and senoritas, I can't believe this. How many people here have slept with a ghost? One guy in the back raises his hand. So please, make room. Come here, please, make room. Tell us everything, every word, every syllable, every feeling that you had. Oh, I'm from India, and I think I made a mistake. My name is Amitra Punjab, and I'm awfully sorry. I thought you said goats.
After 3 years at Cedars of Lebanon, Dr. Wagner felt it was time to go after his dream. He moved to Oklahoma City, Hospital of San Antonio, to be a resident doctor. Then he moved to the U.S. Air Force with his new post at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, where he became chief of plastic surgery. During a visit to a nearby Dow Corning factory, he made an interesting renovation in the design of one of Dow's products, which became known as Wagner's breast implant.
I never had nice breasts. And when I met my husband, I was wearing 2 falsies on each side in my bra, and I was so embarrassed. I was afraid to have him even hug me or touch me because you feel a little bong, and it just was so terrible. But he didn't mind. He went ahead. We married, and we were married in New York, the little church around the corner. His mother had a exceptional reception for us. That's another story. And then we came down here to Miami and had our honeymoon. Now there was the Doral Hotel then. I am swimming. I have my little green with pink polka dot bikini on, and all of a sudden falsies come floating out of my bathing suit. They are floating in the water to the right, and I'm hightailing it to the left. I was so embarrassed. My world fell apart. But the first thing I did was go up to our room. I called the office, scheduled myself for surgery. And then, as I'm getting ready to have the surgery, this Curdy's saying, fine, great. I can understand that you'd like to have that done so you don't have to wear your falsies all the time. It'll make your body feel better. You'll have a whole different feeling about life and everything. It did. It made my cheekbones look better. I lost weight because you didn't want to eat so much. It was fabulous and fantastic. And these are just on me. And maybe you would think that I'm very vain, but slight little adjustments that can be done will change your whole life.
In 1966, Dr. Kurt received his certification as a plastic surgeon number 743. At 32 years old, with 2 daughters, and 3 months after becoming a widow, the new doctor moved to Los Angeles, California. There he met a school teacher, Kathy Kelly, who would soon become his wife. A year later, Wagner's new family moved to Mulholland Drive with a panoramic view of the San Fernando Valley. Beverly Hills received him with open arms.
But the bottom line is that we provide a service. We are an integral part of the world, and we make the world better. And there's no two ways about it.
En Beverly Hills, el Dr. Wagner ha ganado publicidad a costa de una gran suma de dinero y la repulsa del gremio de cirujanos que, en un intento para socavar su prestigio y estabilidad, lo acusan de autopromoverse. Aún corre el año 1972 y el interés por los Wagner persiste. La pareja es objeto de un especial de televisión para ser publicado por la BBC que muestra la vida y obra de un cirujano plástico de Beverly Hills. Años después saldría en pantalla una serie de reality show, Doctor 90-210, que recuerda el reportaje que hicieran a nuestro artista de la cirugía. Al mismo tiempo aparece un gran artículo en la revista de Los Ángeles, donde el Dr. Kurt Wagner exterioriza sus reflexiones sobre la vida, la libertad y la búsqueda de la belleza. Kurt y Kathy están en todas partes. Sus rostros se ven en Francia, Alemania e incluso Australia.
Funny, when you think of what my office was like, and in a way it's cozy here. You know, memories of getting married, being famous enough so that for our 25th anniversary, the city of Los Angeles gave us a happy prosperity anniversary wish. Not many people get that, right? So, and then there's books that I wrote, books that I wish that I wrote, and of course
Later,
my palace
in
here.
need of a break
Disney.
from increasing pressures,
Mickey.
he and his wife Kathy went to Costa
He's
Rica
not
for
really
a while.
Dr. Kurt, but I love
Then-
him anyway. But here's my favorite. And they took it away.
Oh.
Because here. This is one of my favorites.
It's funny to me.
My name is Kurt Wagner. By trade, I'm a plastic surgeon.
Es en medio de aquella ascendente espiral que el visionario Dr. Wagner viaja a Río de Janeiro para participar en la Conferencia Internacional de Cirugía Estética, desde donde regresa con una nueva e interesante idea para realizar: la liposucción por mínimo acceso, lo que hoy se conoce como esculpir el cuerpo. Wagner propuso, en lugar de la invasiva eliminación de grandes cantidades de piel y tejidos que implicaba dicho procedimiento, el método de una incisión por mínimo acceso a través de la que se succionaba la grasa sobrante. Este experimento traería para nuestro cirujano desagradables consecuencias. Una vez más se enfrentaría a las ingratitudes de la vida. A partir del actuar negligente de una de sus pacientes, el ingenioso profesional fue acusado ante su compañía de seguros y la junta médica como un maniático chupagrasa, razón por la cual fue amonestado con una multa de $50,000. Mientras se bregaba con el riesgo de un posible liposarcoma que crecía en la palma de su mano derecha, el Dr. Wagner se mantuvo respetuoso ante el legado de su abuelo, Oscar Kaunitz. Afanado en recuperar el tiempo perdido, en 1975 se hizo cofundador de la Sociedad Estadounidense de la Cirugía Estética Reconstructiva, ASTARS. La organización profesional donó servicios de cirugía plástica a exiguo costo a personas necesitadas que no podían permitirse sus servicios. El joven Dr. Kurt Wagner intentaba hacer valer su criterio sobre lo positivo de hacer la cirugía mínima y la inmediata reconstrucción en los casos de mujeres que sufrían cáncer de mamas. La preocupación ante el peligro inminente de la muerte, unido a la incapacidad de concebir otro hijo, resultaba en un colapso psicológico interno. Luego de obtener un optimista resultado en las biopsias realizadas, decidió cortar la masa indolora, hacer dinero lo más rápido posible y vivir como si cada día fuese el último. Con 40 años de edad y una clientela que se extendía por América y Europa, el Dr. Kurt Wagner atravesaba una crisis personal y existencial en medio de la que se preguntaba si eso era todo lo que la vida le deparaba. Este experimentado cirujano plástico, responsable de varias innovaciones dentro del campo de la cirugía estética y reconstructiva, reconoce encontrarse en un punto donde puede ser capaz de admirar, reír o abuchear los altibajos de su vida, como si se tratase de un paseo en carrusel.
As a doctor, I mean, there's so many things special about him. As a doctor, as I said before, he's an innovator. He was an innovator amongst innovators. He was incredibly skilled. He would attempt procedures that I would venture to say probably most surgeons won't even attempt. So there's various ways of going about it. Well, was he radical? Was he confident? Was it someplace in between? Was it both?
That can be anybody. Anybody can be an innovative in some way. Might not be in a particular profession. It might be another kind of innovation. But I think we can also learn how to tolerate differences in other people. Kurt's story, I think, tells us that when we meet someone like Kurt, we all can be supportive of him. That it's not a competition. It's here's some talent that is ready to take wing, and let's not hold it back. I think that's one of the messages from the life of Kurt and why we love him so much.
El Dr. Kurt Wagner es parte de un excelente grupo de especialistas del Santuario, Centro de Cirugía Estética y Reconstructiva radicado en Boca Ratón, en Florida. Con una larga historia dentro de su especialidad, Kurt se ha equipado de un grupo de colegas y amigos que dan sentido a su día a día y valoran su experiencia y amistad.
Well, with Kurt, there's really no doctor-patient relationship because everybody becomes his friend. I first met Kurt as a doctor with something serious that other doctors wouldn't pay attention to, and instantly he was my best friend. In fact, when I did have surgery, Kurt's the only person I ever know who made house calls, would call me up daily, check on me. So actually, with Kurt, there's very little separation. He's probably the most attentive doctor I've ever known, and because he has an exceptional memory, he really doesn't forget anything. And when he knows he's had a patient and it's been a day or two, he knows he'll automatically just check on them no matter what.
What's it like to work with Kurt?
Yeah.
It's entertaining. His brain is unbelievable. It's just a wealth of knowledge, and really it's impressive to be able to work with him.
Después del escándalo generado a partir de su aparición en el show de Merv Griffin, la carrera de este emprendedor cirujano seguía despertando interés. En 1975, el Dr. Kurt Wagner compartió publicidad con prestigiosos médicos e investigadores de la medicina, al aparecer con un extenso reportaje en The Super Doctors por Roger Rapoport, donde se hablaba sobre la vida privada y profesional de los más importantes doctores de la época. En un intento por dejar de pensar en la posibilidad de una muerte prematura, o quizás movido por un apasionado impulso de superación personal, Kurt fue inspirado por la idea de diseñar una prótesis de mentón de silicona envolvente, creada especialmente para él.
He was incredibly skilled. He developed numerous, breast implants, cheek implants, chin implants. He was just incredible.
And he said, but meanwhile, while you're on my table, the operating table, I just would like to kind of pin back your ears just a wee bit, because they did stick out a little when we look at early pictures of me. Mm-hmm. And he said, your daddy didn't have much of a chin. So I have a Wagner chin Ivan's made, and no scar, I'll go right in through your mouth. No pain, no anything, and it will make such a big difference.
Es también por esta época cuando escribe el libro Beauty by Design, en coautoría con Gerald Lindbergh, uno de sus discípulos, y respondiendo al encargo de su abuelo llevó a cabo otro programa gratuito en el Centro de Salud de Beverly Hills, similar al A-Stars de 1975, conocido como Un poco de ayuda de nuestros amigos.
He'll do anything for his friends. I mean, patients become his friends, but of course there are some that are a little more special. And I really think that I value his friendship more than his abilities as a doctor. But there were times when he questioned what other doctors did, and he'd automatically just remember to ask me about that, and he'd confront the other doctors, and I don't think anybody else would do that. He is an unusual friend in that he will interfere with other doctors' treatments if he thinks there's something not right. And ironically, of all the times he's interfered, and it's been life and death situations and he's helped me out of several times, he's never been wrong. And these were things that weren't in his field. So I value him really more than anything as a friend. But as a doctor, I think I've been blessed because he knows far more than the field of plastic surgery. And he never hesitates to question other doctors.
Entramos a los años 80, una nueva y difícil década en la vida del Dr. Kerr Joseph Wagner. Su cándida fe en la gratitud humana lo llevó a encontrarse en medio de un escándalo judicial con nefastas consecuencias en sus finanzas y, lo que fue peor, en su vida familiar y sentimental. Las desagradables experiencias vividas por él en medio de pleitos judiciales, mermas en sus finanzas y el insuperable dolor generado por la pérdida de su hija lo llevaron a reflexionar a fondo sobre la confianza en las personas y la propensión de algunos a repetir los errores. Después de vivir la devastadora experiencia, el Dr. Kerr Wagner deja atrás la casa de Sherman Oaks para continuar su vida y oficio al norte de calle Sunset, Lexington. Se muda a Casa Contenta, una mansión con 10.000 metros cuadrados, ubicada a solo 10 minutos de su oficina en un centro quirúrgico fundado por él, con 3 salas de operaciones y dirigido por el anestesiólogo y amigo Dr. Tom Gumas. Superando la vorágine de experiencias desagradables, en abril de 1985 el Dr. Wagner decidió donar parte de su colección de pósters del pintor, grabador y dibujante francés Toulouse-Lautrec al Museo de Arte de Los Ángeles. Nuevamente vuelven a la vida mediática, esta vez con una imagen más positiva para el público. Ahora sí era nuestro Kerr Joseph Wagner, un doctor 90 a 210 en todos los sentidos. En 1995, Kerr Wagner decide abandonar Casa Contenta y se alquila en un apartamento en Century City, donde experimenta sin resultados favorables en la industria del entretenimiento. Tras el intento fallido y ante la necesidad de un descanso de la presión en que estaba su vida, deciden él y su esposa Kathy irse una temporada a Costa Rica.
There are to see, and going to the movies, and the movies, you know, were dubbed in English or sometimes dubbed in Spanish. Didn't matter. We had fun. Great Chicken was there, and I remember that I saw a squirrel, an albino squirrel that was living outside of our little house. So I fed food to it, and we would see those giant iguanas. They can take down the mangoes and the papayas, and they were feeding them bananas, peels. They like the banana peels. It was very, very interesting. It's a fabulous country. People are wonderful. So happy, and he always remembers that.
El nuevo milenio encontró a Kerr Wagner con nuevos bríos. Una vez más, la providencia estuvo de su lado y lo puso en contacto con Jason Pusner, un joven cirujano que estaba empezando por su cuenta en Boca Ratón, donde encontramos hoy a quien repopularizara la modalidad de la cirugía de oficina. El veterano Dr. Kerr Joseph Wagner en casa de nuevo.
Now, he was a guy who wasn't a spring chicken, right? But he had a lot of energy. He had more energy than I did. And I was amazed that this guy, after so many years of practice, was able to hang with us all day in the operating room till late, get up early the next morning. So energy level was unbelievable. So we love Kurt. It's such a pleasure to have him here in our office, and hopefully have many more years of Kurt Wagner as a part of our team.
Encontrándose en el umbral de su 8ª década, el Dr. Kurt Wagner se regocija con la herencia dejada en su pequeña nieta Sofía, quien le regenera la esperanza y la alegría por la vida. Al mirar atrás, concluye que cada día trae un nuevo amanecer y que el lado positivo de la balanza de su vida pesa más que el negativo. Sobreviviente del Holocausto. Miembro vitalicio de la Sociedad Americana de Cirujanos Plásticos. Diseñador del implante de prótesis de mentón de silicona envolvente y visionario de la cirugía estética como arte de la belleza. Desde 2010, Kurt Wagner se desempeña como presidente de la junta directiva de una empresa llamada Garantía de Células Madre, importante proyecto científico donde desde la distancia temporal defiende el compromiso establecido con su abuelo hace tantos años. Usted debe ayudar a todos.
Can you sing a song for me?